How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to an episode in live stream of Let's Build Twitter. As always, I'm Ethan, a random coder. Last time around, we worked on a little bit of Java code where we can make it so we could actually search here inside of our application. And now today we need to actually get the search bar up and running so that whenever we type in this, it actually searches. We also need kind of like a little drop down and a couple other things. And I think whenever we search, a circle pops up with an X in it. So there's some stuff we need to work on and can work on. So that's what we're going to do today. And then also whenever you search, a list of people pop up, and then you can also click on them, and if you actually hit enter, it goes into a actual like search page where it has a few different items and stuff like that. So I don't think we're gonna get to the search page today. I'm pretty beat today from work, so I don't know how long we're gonna stream, but we're gonna go ahead and try to get like the drop down working and actually searching for results and all that stuff. I'm gonna try to keep it encapsulated. If I do make like a Redux slice, it's gonna be encapsulated into this little area. It's not gonna expand out anywhere because the search stuff isn't really that important. I shouldn't say it's that important. It doesn't need to reach out very far. And again, the reason why we're doing this search is so that we can actually be able to follow people. When we can follow people, we can start showing posts in here. And that's kind of what my actual goal is to get posts going in there. And I don't actually think that this top bar is working the way it's supposed to. So once we start getting some more posts in there and stuff, we can actually scroll. We'll see if it's actually working, but I don't think it is because this is moving quite a bit. But anyway, so with that being out of the way, whenever we type in here, we need a little drop down, and two, we need an X that goes in the corner that has information in it. Whenever you click off, it stays. So let's go ahead and come back into our code, and we go into our discovery search bar, and on active, that's fine. So we need to add one more thing. So right now we have the search bar icon wrapper, and we need a thing that can basically be clicked on. We also need to figure out how we're going to have the recent, but basically what I'm going to go ahead and do, so we'll go ahead and make another div with the class name, and this will be equal to discovery, and let's go ahead and say search bar, and this is going to be clear. This is going to be like a button that clears. On click, we need to basically clear out the input so we can get the input ref, but let's just go ahead and make a function called clear input maybe. And we need to make this function, so let's just go ahead and make that function really quick as well. So const clear input is equal to this, and I guess we can just go ahead and do this. So basically we just need to make sure that the input, although you know what, we don't want input ref on this, so we might as well go ahead and store this data in here. So let's go ahead and make that change. The on change, we'll set up a dispatcher and stuff. Let's go ahead and say const, and then search. I don't want to call it search term, search content maybe, and set search content is equal to use state of a string, and this will be empty. And what we'll go and do is inside of our input, we'll set the value equal to this. So value is equal to this search content. Again, we didn't need to do it this way. We could have used the ref, but I'm gonna make it a little bit easier on myself. And let's go ahead and close this div really quick. So now whenever we clear input, we're just gonna go ahead and say set search content. Whoops. If I could type search content to be an empty string like so. So now when we click on it, it'll be an empty string. And then we also need like a close icon, I guess. So let me go ahead and look in Material UI. So let's grab close. I'm gonna go ahead and copy it. Let's go ahead and put close under there. So now we got our close icon, and this will be close icon, and we're gonna have to set this to white. So SX is equal to color will just be, it's just white, I believe. Although I don't 100% know because I'm in dark mode, so maybe it's not white, but it is what it is. Now the thing that we need to keep in mind is that this will only be active if we have a content, I guess. Whoops. So this will only be active if there's content. So let's actually go ahead and do this. So we'll say search content and this div. It's kind of ugly, but we can also do one of these, make it look a little bit nicer, I guess. But basically, if there's search content in there, we will go ahead and set this and show this, otherwise we won't. So if we come back in here, we're not going to see much, but if we type, whoops, oh, we're never setting the content. So let's go ahead and handle change. We're going to go ahead and say set search content, and we are going to go ahead and say e.target.value. So we'll go ahead and set the value there so that way it's at least doing something. And normally I don't do it that way, but I'm doing it this way because we need to search as we type. So now you can see we have the X. It's a little bit big and we need to do some refining. And maybe we do want it to be black, and black is default. So we'll just have to set the font size, I guess. So maybe we won't do this, but if we actually click on this, let's see if we click on it, it does something. So if we click on it, clears the content like it's supposed to, and everything looked good. So that's good. And it only shows up when we have content. So we're halfway there. Maybe we do a font size on this since we don't actually need the other one. Maybe font size is like 12px. And we go ahead and grab this discovery search bar clear. We can hop into here and we'll just put it on this search bar icon wrapper. And search bar clear, we're going to have a width of 22px, a height of 22px, and this might just work. It might put it where we want it. We'll see. We might need to change the size of the actual search bar wherever the input, because right now the width's 90%, so we might need to make the width like 80% or something to squeeze it in there, because right now we decided display flex and flex start. So we'll just see how that goes. But obviously we want a border radius of 100%, and we want a background color of our blue. So I'm just gonna grab this, and then what else do we need? So I think that's everything. We also need display flex, a flex direction, doesn't matter. So let's just justify content in the center and align items in the center. We might need to wrap this also in an icon. We'll see, because sometimes it's a little bit weird. It doesn't center properly. So we'll see if it wants to center. So if we type, so we say like Rick, that's really small. So we want it a little bit bigger. Let's make the font size maybe like 14px just to make it a little bit bigger. And heck, it might even be able to be like 16px, but I kind of like the way that it looks. I think that looks pretty good. We need a cursor pointer on this guy, and it also has a little bit of a color change. So if we come in here, let's go ahead and set up, we can do the cursor pointer right there, and then we'll do dot discovery dash search dash bar clear and hover. And basically we'll do a background color. Let me convert this to RGB. Actually, let's do a shade generator, and we'll make it just a slightly darker shade. So we'll do 10% darker. That's probably plenty. So background color on hover will be this color instead. And let me do a pound sign there. And let's see if you can see it. If we need to go a little bit darker, we can. So you can see, I don't know, that might look better white in dark mode. I want to see what it looks like white really quick. So I am going to go ahead and put color as white, and maybe Twitter doesn't have it white, but I might be taking some liberty here, and maybe black is the move. And this is slightly too big, so I am going to go black, and I'm going to go ahead and say width is 16px. I'm going to force the width and height, and I think this might fix it being a little bit weird and not quite centered, because I think it is a little bit off. Cool. I think it looks good. So right now, whenever you see Rick, it should be popping up a little like pop-up. Is actually kind of broken, so that's interesting. Whenever we start typing in there, it should basically make a GET request more or less each time we type. Now, I don't want to deal with the GET request right at this moment, so we need a little pop-up guy, and I'm trying to debate on where I want to pop up at, because I could either have it here on the search bar, or I could put it wherever we have, I think it's inside the landing page or the home page. So here we have like discover, right? So we could either put it, and maybe we do want it inside discover. So if we go into discover.tsx, wherever discovery search bar. Now the issue is that we don't have access to the content of the discovery search bar in here. We could probably connect it to this discovery search bar and have it have like an index. a Z index, so maybe we try that. So inside of discovery, let's make a new folder and let's call this discovery search dropdown, maybe, because that's what it is. Make a new file, call it discovery search dropdown.tsx. We're going to make a new file, and this will be discovery search dropdown.css. So basically it has a top piece, and then it has some more or less like the people that it's looking at, and then has like their profile picture, their name, whether or not they're verified. It has a couple other things, and it also has like go to, like at whatever. Maybe we make this a length equal to fit content, and then the width is going to be set no matter what. So it looks like the width is about the same length as the search bar, about 52 pixels. So that's going to be the same width no matter what we do. And then the width will have like a height for the top bar, and then we'll also have to make individual like search sections or something with the individual height, and then maybe with 100%. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and import React from React. And let's also go ahead and import our discovery. I can't spell discovery search drop down. Okay, and make sure we grab the .css on the end of that. Hopefully I spelled that right. Discovery search dropdown. Let's export const React. Whoops. I cannot think or type tonight, I guess. Search drop down. Say React.fc. And what we'll do is, I don't know, I guess we'll just send a list or pass a list of objects basically. We could pass back users. I think that's what we're passing through the API. So this will be, we'll basically say interface and then discovery search drop down props is, and this is going to have a list of users. So users will be a user array, and we'll just pass it like 8 users or however many users we have. And then let's go ahead and pass in this. So discovery search drop down props equal to, and we'll go ahead and break apart those users and then do this. Cool. Let's go ahead and return a div. So we have our div with a class name equal to discovery dash search dash drop dash down. And inside here, there's a couple sections. So we have a div class name equal to discovery search drop down. And then this is going to say search for. So this is a search for section, and we also need the current content. So content is a string. So if whenever we type in there, we're also gonna have the content. So bring that. So basically, if we have content, and maybe it should be a p tag, I'm not sure. So content question mark. If we have content, what will p tag? The class name equal to discovery dash search dash drop down dash content. And I guess this can be the same, it doesn't really matter. So inside here we'll pass the we'll pass search for, and then it has the content inside. And then otherwise, let's just clean this up a little bit, doesn't have to be perfect. Otherwise, what we're going to have is another p tag with basically the same thing, and this will be p class name equal to discovery dash search dash drop down, dash content. And then this one is slightly different because it doesn't have a hover effect. So we're going to figure out how how to deal with that. So maybe when there's content, we'll say content, and then there should be drop down. This will be drop down empty, maybe. And this one would be try searching for people, lists, or keywords. Okay, and then that's what that's going to look like. And then I guess the rest of this is also going to depend on whether or not we have any content whatsoever. So yeah, I guess we'll do this, and then we'll just have a big thing again, content, and then maybe we say and then we have a div, the class name equal to discovery dash search drop down results. And this one's being difficult, so you love to see it, but this will be the results of what we got. And div, let's close this div off, right? And then in here we'll have like a map basically. So we'll say, let's do this. Whoops, we don't have the users yet, we need to do this, but we'll basically map through the results. And then underneath that, we're going to have a go to section, and this is also scuffed. Well, that one's not as scuffed, but this one would be a div class name equal to, we might want a div here as well, we'll see, we might make another div, but anyway, div class name, and this will be discovery dash search dash drop dash down dash go to. And then inside the go to, we'll basically have a p tag, p class name equal to discovery dash search dash drop down go to text. And then inside the go to text, it'll say go to at, and we'll have our $ curly brace and our content. So say, hey, go to at this username. So there's all that. Now I'm not that concerned about getting this like perfectly set up. More or less, I just want to get the drop down so that it actually pops up, and we can go back and I want to start dealing with the data. So now inside of discovery search bar, I really don't like the idea of having it here. I'd rather it be here. So discovery, I don't know if I export this, I should have. Discovery search dropdown. So the thing is, I'd rather it be here. Users will be an empty array, and content will equal to this for now. We could have also done like a context to wrap around this, I guess. I don't do much with context, but a context might be better with this, because context we could also wrap around that other page, and I think it'll work because you just have to wrap the provider where you want it. So let's go ahead and make a new folder, and we'll call this context. We might also want like well, I guess we can put it inside of context. Let's make a new file. We'll call this discovery context models or something. I guess we can just call it models because it's inside the context, so we'll just call it models. Shouldn't have any naming clashes. This will be TS. So this will be where we store our types and stuff, and then we'll make a new file, and we'll call this discovery context discovery context.tsx, I believe. So I think we create a provider in here, and we'll have to figure out what we want to do for the data and whatnot. We're going to be able to search for multiple things, so we will probably want some other things. But let's go ahead and first, we already have a user, so we'll just export, and I like to use types, so export type discovery context, and first we'll have content, which is a string. So what are we searching for? We can also, we'll call this search content. So search and content, and then we'll also go ahead and have users, and we'll say search results users, or search result users. or something. That way we know what it is. This will be a user array, so grab user from our global interfaces. We also want to define our reducers in here, or basically what are called reducers or functions. So we're gonna have a search, and maybe we do search for users, and this will take in a value. So this will be the search content of type string, and this will just return a void, because what it's going to do is it's going to set our thing there. We're going to need a update, update content, and again this will take in a e of react dot, let's say, change event. And I don't think we have to put it on anything. If we want to, we could say HTML input element just to be safe. And again, this is just going to return void. And then I'm trying to think of what else we might need. We want to be able to clear, although update content, we can just clear it basically. And what else do we want to do? I think that might be it for now. So we can search, we can clear it, and we can keep track of the users and search results. And then we can continue to kind of work on this. So we can add more. So whenever we start searching for everything, users, tweets, all of that stuff, we can add it in there. And instead of just search for users, we can now search for everything, combine things, stuff like that. So I put this in the wrong spot, so this should be inside models. So let me move this over to models. So models.ts. So now we need to create the context. So it's import, and we want create context, I believe. So create context from React. Whoops. And then what we want to go ahead and do is say export const, and we're going to go ahead and say discovery context, and this will be equal to create context, and we're going to create the context based off of the discovery context, and it should probably be called type. So let me go ahead and change this to discovery context type just to be safe. So we want discovery context type, or it'll be null, because whenever it starts out, it's going to start out as null, and we'll go ahead and say null. So we'll set that up. I think there's also another way to set up, but the issue is with the reducer functions. So we need a way to basically just clear everything out. And now we're going to say const discovery provider, and this will be a React function component, and I really hope this will work the way that I want it to. I'm pretty sure it will, but we'll have children, which is a react node, which is basically going to make a higher order component and allow us to display React components inside this. And that's how we basically can wrap the provider around whatever we need. And then we're going to do this. And now it's going to complain. So we're going to return, and we'll do this just to make it clean. And this is going to say discovery context.provider. And I'm reading off tutorial right now. So I will need to set a couple things up here, but if I keep it to the sides, because I don't use context that much, so I'm not as clear as context. And then it's going to say children. So basically we're going to set up all of our different states and things. So everything that is on this discovery type is going to exist inside this component, and it's going to get passed into the value. So for example, we have users and we have content. So for example, we'll have const, and we'll have content. I think we called it search content, and we also need to set search content equal to use state. So we will need to bring in use state string, and then this will be empty. So now we can also say const, not even close, const search result users set search result users equal to use state, and this is a user array, which will default to an empty array. And then we also need our functions here. So our search for users, so let's copy this. We say const search for users is equal to this, and this will actually be async because we'll do a call to axios. So we'll need to bring in axios, but here we will search for users. And this will probably like wait a second or two to stop search or stop typing. So we did something for the GIFs. So I'll go back and look at the GIFs. And then finally we need a const update search result or something like that. So update content, and maybe we call this update search content. So let's grab update search content and save this. So now finally update search content, this is equal to this, and this will take in an event, which is a React dot change event on an HTML event or input element. There we go. And this will basically be able to allow us to set search content to e.target.value. So now we can pass all of these. So now value needs search content. It needs search result users, not search. Well, it does need search users. We want search result users. It needs the search for users. I can't type. Oh my goodness. And it needs the update search content. And let me see what I did wrong. Oh, you know what? This has to be like double like this. Cool. So now we're basically passing along the data or everything that we need. So of course, search result users is not being populated right now, but the idea will be we'll go ahead and call set search result users, whatever, call set search. And we might also want to pass in a string here because we don't want to rely on the content. So we will go ahead and update this. This will take in, oh, it takes in a string content. I'm surprised it didn't complain. That's really surprising to me, but we'll go ahead and say search content, and this is string. It's really surprising that I didn't complain because it would have wanted the exact thing, but cool, there's that. Now basically what we should be able to do now is take this provider and wrap it in whatever we want. So let me just make sure we also export, and we'll say default, and this is called discovery provider. So let's go ahead and do that. So now we can actually bring this in. Now, the only issue is this is a little bit funky. So if we wrap it in Discover, we're not going to be able to access the data here, so we don't get rid of the props, but I think that'll be okay. So we need to bring in the context, I believe. I'm going to move this because it annoys me whenever the CSS is there. Yeah, let's import. Whoops. Import our discovery, and we want provider, so bring in the discovery. I don't know why discovery provider is not popping up. Oh, it's because I didn't put a Y. So don't see discovery provider. Oh, you know what? It's because it's a default. This will be from our dot slash or dot slash context slash discovery context. Okay, and now all we need to do is wrap this div. So this is going to get a little bit messy, and let's fix this up. And we'll go ahead and say discovery provider, and then we're going to just copy this guy in here, and it should work the exact same way that it was working previously. So let's just fix this up, fix that up, save, and now theoretically we come back in here, fingers crossed, everything looks the same, everything's fine. If we type in here, it acts the same. We can click out of that. So now the thing is, we have access to this discovery context. So if we go back into a discovery search bar, which I have lost at this point, so now basically we can bring in use context. We're going to go ahead and say const, and this is going to have update search content, and it's going to have search for users, and it's going to have search content. I don't think we need the other things. I don't think we need users for this one. This is going to be equal to use context, and then inside the use context we're going to pass in the discovery context as, and we're going to say discovery context type, and I guess it's not search content. Oh, you know what? It's because of this. So now in here we're going to call update search content, and it's going to be an empty string. And I don't know why it's mad. Argument type string is not, I guess, actually what we're going to go ahead and do. Again, this is why it's nice. We can make a change on the fly. We're just going to pass in a string. So I'm just going to say content string. I'm going to make our life a little bit easier here. Inside our discovery content, we're just going to go ahead and instead of say e.this, we're just going to say content string. And we're going to go ahead and set our search content to that, and then we don't need to clear anymore because we're going to pass an empty string. We don't need clear, so I just basically did all this for no reason. And inside of our models, we do not need clear, and I just made my life way harder in editing, but it's fine, I guess. Cool. So now inside here, we can just go ahead and say e.target.value. And then here we can go ahead and get rid of this clear content. I like to reuse where I can, and now we'll update search to an empty string. And then what we can do is we'll go ahead and pass in search content. This time the search content is going to come from here, and we will go ahead and call search for users, and we'll go ahead and pass in e.target.value again, except this time I think what we want to go ahead and do is we want to look inside of our GIF, wherever we did our GIF stuff, and see how we handled the timeout, and then like wait like a second or two until we're done typing. That way we're not stressing the server as much. But I want to make sure that this is working and we can get the content into the other dropdown. So let's go ahead and make sure that this is still kind of working as we expect. So if we type in here, we should still be able to see this. This is all working. We clear this, it should release everything. So that's working as expected. Context is basically just a less bulky version of Redux, so that's fine. We'll come back and get search for users set up. Let's go back to our dropdown.tsx. So now we don't need this because we're going to grab the data from whatever it's called, and we don't need this obviously, and we do not need this obviously. So let's get rid of all of this maybe, and let's go ahead and bring in use context like we did before. So import React, use context, and we also need our context. So import it's called discovery context. We also need to import our discovery context type, and let's go ahead and remove this. So now what we can go ahead and do is instead of content, we'll say const, and we'll bring in search content and users equal to use context. And this is a discovery, can't type, discovery context. I don't know what happened there, as discovery context type. And I guess this is actually called search result users. And we obviously have a little bit to do here. So now we can go ahead and be like search content. So we have search content, search for search content, go to search content. And if we go back in discovery, we don't need this anymore, and we can save. And now we should have access to that data over there as well, except I scuffed these somehow. I don't know what happened here. It's also mad at us because we're not looking for search result users, but we'll get there once we start searching. So now if we take a look right now, try search for people. If we type in here, search for and go to, that's working as expected. Clear this, it goes back to this. Now what we want to go ahead and do is I just want to make it so we can see this drop down. So I'm going to go into our CSS.this. So now the width is going to be 52px. The height for now will just be fit content. We want a drop shadow for sure, or a box shadow. I don't remember where the last place I used a box shadow was. I just paste this in because it's kind of like my bog standard. Now the thing is, well, I guess z index like 10 or something, or 100. The thing is, we're not going to be able to see whether or not it's working. So we'll say border, 1px solid, and this needs to be like the light gray color. So let me do my biggest mistake setting this up. I mean, I guess we kind of used it, and we'll say border radius. It's not very big, maybe like 8px, and maybe just add some padding in there of like 8px. It's not super big. Padding, and again, this is not final. I just kind of want to set some stuff up here and get it going. So that is nowhere near big enough. Let's try 350. The other guy on the top is 52. So that looks pretty good, and it's sticking to that. I don't know if z-index is actually working because we don't have anything underneath of it. If z-index is working, we probably want a background color of white just to be safe. So that's cool. Let's go ahead and work on actually searching stuff up, and we can deal with CSS and all that stuff later. I want to get as much logic done as possible. So I'm going to go into our feed post creator, and I kind of a mess here. Let's go ahead and close out of something. Inside of here, inside of discover search bar, we'll go ahead and say const timer set timer is equal to use state of any, and I forgot what we did already. So this any just has nothing inside of it. So we have a timer. So now whenever we key up, so we need a const start timer is equal to use not use state equal to nothing, I guess, and does this. So we're gonna clear timeout. We're gonna pass in the timer. We're gonna say let t equal set timeout, and we need a callback. I guess this will actually be the search for user, and we could probably pass the content in at that point. So search for user, and then search content. By the time this is done, we've been done typing for a second, it should be updated. So set timeout for 1 second. Cannot find name, search for user, search for users. We'll deal with that in a second. And then set timer to t. Okay, so what is the issue with this? Is it because it probably doesn't like this? So let's just call it like this, I suppose. I'm guessing this is the issue. So it doesn't like, yeah, so it didn't like that it was calling something with a whatever it wanted to call back with no thing. So now start timer inside of here. It probably could have been in the handle change, to be completely honest, because every time we type in it, it does something. So actually, let's put it inside handle change. Once again, copy this, and instead of calling that, we'll do this. And every time it changes, we'll go ahead and clear it out. We could probably make this like half a second, and that's probably aggressive enough. And then this can be e.target.value. So e.target.value. We'll go ahead and search for users after half a second, and that's fine and dandy. So now inside of our, we need a discovery thing again, go into discovery context. So let's go ahead and import axios, import axios from axios. And then inside here, we'll go ahead and do is we'll say let request equal to await axios.post. We need to grab the JWT token. So we need our, I think it's called use JWT, import use, or is it local storage? Use local storage. And we want to const, and it's like JWT is equal to use local storage. And I need to look at how to use this again, and it might be JWT get JWT and set JWT or something like that. And I forgot to use it. Theoretically, we should have the JWT there. And now I don't know why it keeps doing this on the end of that, but okay. And now we need axios.post to http:// it's actually a get http:// and there's probably a way to do params really easily. There's probably a better way to do this. There's more than one way to do things. So :/discovery/users ? And then this will be search term equal to $ curly brace, and then we're going to get our search content, and then we need headers, or actually we might want to do this actually. And then we have config, headers, and inside our headers, we have a authorization. So authorization, and authorization should say bear space $ curly brace, and then this will be JWT, assuming that I have it saved properly. And I wonder if this is where we can do params. Params, colon. It does look like you can do that. Search. It might need to be like this. So search term, and then this will be search content. I'm curious to see if that'll work. I'm gonna clear this. Let's see if that works the way that I expect it to. And we'll say let res equal to rec.data. And I guess let's just console.log our data for now. Actually be res. Let's just see what our res looks like. And we could actually probably call this like body is equal to res.data. And we'll console.log it to make sure that works. If we go ahead and go back to our console, fingers crossed this works. So if I say like Rick for R, we get 4 people. If we say Rick, now we get 3 people. So I don't know why we got unknown coder for Rick, or actually it might have been R because it's coder. Makes sense. So now we get Rick, we get 3 people. If we say, so I don't know if it does by first and last name, but we could try to do like Smith. So Smith, we got 1 because Morty Smith. We could probably search by first and last name, but you kind of see where it's going. If we go to @Smith, it's not going to work. So now if we go ahead and do our Morty Smith, it should only pop up 1 again because there's only 1 Morty Smith. It does say Rick is my grandpa, so on and so forth. And now if we click on that, we would basically navigate to his profile. That's working as expected, so that is good. So now basically what we can do is we can make those little tab things and start filling them out. So for this specific case here, we only want the top 8. So what we might do is this. We want, well, let's see if this works like the way that I'm thinking it will. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a use effect in this, and then inside the use effect, we're going to watch for a change inside of this users array. So search, I forgot what I called this, search result users. Let's make sure we actually put it in this. So I want to watch for this to change. I'm thinking that since we are getting a whole new array and adding to it, it should work because we're not just like appending here and there. We're going to be rewriting the entire array. So I'm hoping that we can at least console.log and see that the search will say user list change, because we're not updating it, we're not adding more, we should be rewriting it every single time. Which reminds me, we don't actually do anything with this data. So we're gonna go ahead and say set our search result users to this body. And every time we search for users, it should reset it. Let's see if this works. Let's make a div here. Div class name equal to, and this will be discovery dash search drop down results list, and this will be where all of our results go. And we'll also want a result object probably, but for now we'll go ahead and do this, and we're gonna go ahead and say search result users dot, we want to use slice. So now we want the start, and then we want 8, I guess, and then we'll dot map, because this should return an array, and then we'll map for each user. And then here we want, let's just do a div for now, div, and we need to return said div. And for now, I just want to see if this is going to be feasible or not, or if it's going to break if we don't have 8. So we'll go ahead and say user dot nickname for the time being. It also shows some other things, so we are going to set that stuff up. But I just want to see if we don't have all 8, if we only have like 3, 4, it's not going to self-destruct. because there's not enough indexes. So let's just see if it self-destructs. So let's refresh. And if we type Rick, yeah, it's fine. So it didn't break. That looks good. So we see Rick, we see Summer, and we see Morty. So now if we clear this out, that's good. And we need to figure out a couple other things, but we'll keep working on this. So now we need kind of like a result that has some information in it. So let's go into our discovery components, make a new folder, call this discovery, search, drop down result. It's a mouthful, but it is what it is. Discovery, search, drop down result.tsx, a new file, discovery, search, drop, down results.css. And let's go ahead and import React. It's just going to be very simple component import React from React. And then we might want an interface, but just export const, and we'll go ahead and discovery, search, drop down results. I'm not going to pass the entire user. I just want to pass the information we need. React.fc equal to this. And then let's just return a div. Class name equal to discovery, search, drop down result. And close the div. What did I break? Whoops. Let's fix this. So now we have a profile picture. So we're going to go ahead and basically have an image, I guess, or img, and this will be class name equal to discovery. And honestly, this should be like a user result, but it is what it is. Drop down result PFP, and source will equal to something we pass in. We'll also have a div, div class name equal to discovery dash search dash drop dash down dash, and then this will be, so this is going to be, I guess, the name section. And inside the name section, we'll have a couple of things. This section is going to have like the nickname. So div class name equal to, and honestly, the nickname also has like a span and stuff. So we might need to do a couple other things, but this will be discovery dash search drop down nickname section. Like I said, things get really confusing. And then here we'll have a p tag with a class name will equal to discovery search drop down nickname. Right, and then here we'll have the nickname, and then we will have we could probably do an image, or we can do a span. We'll maybe do a span. So this one we'll have to know whether or not the user is verified. So verified question mark. Again, this will be something that we bring in. If this is the case, we'll have a span, and this might actually be a PNG. It is. So here, instead of a span, let's go into our SVGs, make a new file, and we'll call this verified SVG. Although, do we already have a verified SVG? We do, but what color is it? I guess it doesn't matter because we can color fill whatever color we want, right? I just don't have it set up in here. So we should be able, fill, color, take the props, and let's update our verified SVG, and I think it was inside path. So fill color is either black or this. So now I'm gonna go ahead and bring in our verified SVG, and the size might be an issue. So if it's verified, and again, this will be something we pass in, we'll say verified SVG, and we'll have color equal to, we'll have width equal to, and height equal to, and let's go ahead and close this off. Let's go ahead and import this. So color will be Twitter blue. So this will be interesting. Let's grab Twitter blue from, we don't have it in here. We have it somewhere, Twitter blue. Copy that. Width, I have no idea. Maybe like 12px. That's probably way too big. And height, 12px, or it might just be 12. Yeah, 12. Again, I don't know how big this is supposed to be. This is mad because we're actually going to do verified and it's just going to be mad because of verified. It also looks like there's like a lock here if they had to be followed or something. So maybe we also have a, let's just say protected. And we're gonna need a protected SVG because there's no way I have a protected one. Oh, I do have a lock. So we'll call lock SVG. Color will just equal to white. So we'll say FFF. And again, width will equal to 12. And height will equal to 12. Again, this is something we'll have to bring in. Scuff that. And I spelled protected wrong. The fact that people still watch me is beyond me. And then the last one will be like organization. I think that's how you spell it. So some people that are on like professional teams and have like attached to an organization, they might have like a little image. So this one will probably be an image, I guess. It could also be a span. The class name equal to, although no, let's make it easy on ourselves. Let's make it an image. Image class name equal to, this will be discovery dash search drop down, and this will be organization. Again, this one's gonna be probably more rare, but it is what it is. And then here we'll have src equal to whatever this is, and do that. So that's just the nickname section. We also need the name section can probably just have the @ here. So p class name equal to discovery dash search dash drop down dash, and then this will be username, and then inside the username we'll have @ and then username. So now we need to bring in this information. So this will be, I don't remember if on the profile picture, we might have a default profile picture instead of assets. What we're gonna go and do is I'm going to get the default, like a default profile picture. Let's grab this one, I guess. I do need to put in assets, and then this will just be default underscore PFP. I know y'all can't see this, just saving a profile picture, and there she is. So basically we'll say profile, say PFP question mark. If it's empty, if it exists, it'll be PFP. Otherwise, we're going to imports, and I'm going to see if I can remember how to do this properly. Then we just say import dot dot slash all the way out to assets slash and then default PFP. And actually, I think we can say default PFP from here. And then basically we'll be like, okay, we either put the profile picture, or if it's empty, we'll do an empty PFP, except it doesn't like it. Image must have an alt prop, either meaningful text. That's not the issue though. It's going to be mad because it doesn't have PFP. So let's go ahead and set up our interface. And this is going to be discovery search drop down results props. And this is going to need a PFP, which is a string. This is going to need nickname, which is a string. It's going to need if they are verified, which is false. Is going to need protected, which this isn't false. It should be Boolean. My bad. Boolean. It needs protected, which is a Boolean. And verified should probably actually be paid or actual, but I'm not that concerned about. Organization will be a string. Basically be like, okay, here's an image, or here's a link to the organization image. And then we need username. So username is a string. And we can bring these in. So now we can have this guy, and we'll say discovery drop down result props. And let's break this apart. So PFP will have our verified, we'll have protected, we'll have organization, and I spelled protected wrong or something, and we'll have username. Oh shoot, protect is probably a keyword, huh? So yeah, we will change this to private. Private might be a keyword too. We'll say protected account, or private account. Actually, I like private account. Is it a private account? Yes or no? We'll have to deal with. There's some stuff we have to set up on the back end, like whether or not it's verified, whether or not it is a protected account, so on and so forth. So nickname will be nickname. Except it doesn't like nickname. It's because I forgot nickname. Of course I did. So let's bring in nickname. And then nickname, we'll do the lock, we'll do verified, and then here we'll just pass in organization. If it's empty, it's empty. And we can go ahead and add alt equal to profile. And actually we could say this will be even crazier. Backticks, $, curly brace, username, profile, picture. And now what's wrong? Image tag as an image. Redundant alt. You don't need to use the words images, photo, or picture. Well, how about you? I don't care. And then here we'll say alt is organization. And then we have at username. Now this is gonna look horrible, but it is what it is. And now if we go into our search drop down, instead of returning divs, we will return discovery search drop down result, discovery. I'm assuming there it is. And this needs a whole host of things. So PFP, for now, we're gonna have empty because none of these people have profile pictures. I mean, we could do user.php, but I think it's null. It might actually be profile picture. Yes, it says the string. We need nickname is equal to user.nickname. For now, we'll say verified equal to false. We'll say private account is equal to false. Whoops. Appreciate the subscription, and we'll say that organization is just an empty string for now. We don't have this on there, so we don't have these on there. And then username, whoops, will be equal to user.username. And I think that's everything. I think it's not going to complain. We come in here, if we try to search for Rick, so we have at Rick Sanchez. So I guess that is working. We have Summer, and Morty is way too small, or Morty is off the screen, and this is off the screen. So we have a lot of CSS to work on and things like that. But I think we got pretty good progress done today. And if we also come in here, clear this out, that's fine. So one last thing before I hit the road, because I do have time. Let's make it so this only pops up when this is active. So we might need to add something to the context because search bar and the results are not. So let's go ahead and say inside our discovery context, we need to go into our discovery context models. So go into discovery context models, and in here, we're going to say search active, which is a Boolean. And we might also need to set search active, which is actually we'll say update search active, and this will take in I'm just going to say value because I'm uninspired right now. That'll be void. And here we're going to say const search active and set search active equal to use state of a Boolean, and it's going to start out as false. And we're going to go ahead and we'll do our, so I forget what this had on it because I got a pbrain, update search active. So we'll set this up. So const update search active is equal to value Boolean, and this is going to be dead simple. Set search active to that value, and let's fix this. And that's fine. And let's go ahead and export this. So we need search active and set search or update search active. And inside of our search bar, we want to, whenever we on focus, we're going to do that. We're also going to bring in set search active or update search active. I don't know if we need search active in here. I more or less want just to be able to do this. So update search active, and then we'll go ahead and say this will be true. So whenever we search, we'll set this to true. And whenever we on blur, so on focus should probably do the same thing. I'm gonna go ahead and set this up. Const focus is equal to this, and we'll say const handle focus. We could just handle focus and const handle blur, I guess. Handle blur. I don't love that, but it is what it is. So handle focus, we'll go ahead and set active to true. And this is kind of redundant, but whatever, I guess. Search active to true, and then we'll do the opposite for handle blur. It's redundant because we could just use the other thing that we have, the search active instead of active, but honestly I'm too lazy to delete these. So I'm gonna go ahead and say handle focus, and let me fix that function, handle focus, and then didn't fix handle focus, and then we'll also handle blur. And that should set those to active. And then now inside of our discovery, we can go ahead and be like, okay, is the search bar active? We can't though, gosh darn it, because we do not have access to this. So we're going to have to do some voodoo magic. Const, I hate this a lot. Use state, const, show drop down, set show drop down equal to use state Boolean. This looks horrible and be false to start. We're gonna wrap this and show drop down. So now we're gonna say show drop down, maybe show drop down and that. And then I suppose inside the discovery search bar, we're gonna say const update show drop down. I so hate that I have to do this. We're going to set show dropdown to not show dropdown. I could pass this in. So actually I'll say value Boolean and value. And I want to finish this up really quick. So now we're going to say toggle drop down equal to update show drop down. And then we're going to throw this into discovery search bar. So I'm going to set up a props. So I'm going to say interface and discovery search drop down props, or actually discovery search bar props is equal to an interface, and we don't want the equals. It's getting late. And we're going to say toggle, which is a function that takes in a value Boolean and returns void. And now we're just basically going to handle focus. We're going to bring in this first. So we'll do this. Discovery search bar props. We'll take toggle drop down. So there's not really a point in having active inside the context. So I'm going to remove that actually. So I'm going to get rid of search active and update search active because there's no point in this. Update search active, and we can get rid of search active because we're not using it here. Now there's probably going to be a point where I bring it back, maybe, but probably not. Drop down's not using it. We can get rid of it here because we're not going to use it. And now here we're going to toggle drop down. Here we're going to toggle drop down, toggle drop down. The rest is fine. That cleans up the context. I didn't want to do it the way I had it anyway. Now it's false. Start typing. Voila. So that's what I wanted to get done, and it is exactly 11 o'clock. So it took a little bit more time than I wanted, but searching is working good. We need to get rid of that. And of course, there's some styling and stuff we need to do, but everything looks good. So I want to thank you all once again for stopping by the stream. Everything's appreciated. And also thank you for watching, especially if you made it this far. This has been a very long live stream. So it's probably going to be a pretty long video as well once I get it uploaded. So again, appreciate everyone that watches as far as they do. So anyway, guys, this has been Ethan or Uncoder. I'll see you guys in the next live stream video. Have a great day. Peace out, everyone.